Before we get started, make sure that you are subscribed to all the dorky diggity goodness on the channel, and if you want to see more, click on that notification button. Now enjoy the video.
Learn a little something.
Take a lesson, learn it all.
Welcome back, guys, to another very special video. And being part of the CCP, Kabam has given me exclusive access to some information about the Invisible Woman and Namor, the Submariner, however it is that you guys say it. I say Namor. Now, for Sue Storm, you guys know that story. She goes up to space with her husband and her brother. They end up getting bombarded by cosmic rays. She comes back. She can be invisible, make constructs, make force fields, all kinds of stuff. And now we have her in MCOC. So let's take a look at those abilities now. Invisible Woman has a mix of offensive and defensive mechanics. She has a force field which takes damage on her behalf, and she is able to turn invisible, which causes all incoming attacks to miss. When attacking, she benefits from dodging the opponent's attacks, and deals bonus damage for every debuff on them. Invisible Woman starts her fights with a force field that increases her physical and energy damage resistance. When taking damage from any attack other than an SP3, the force field takes a good portion of the damage instead of her. She also possesses the ability to go invisible for extended periods of time. While invisible, she can avoid incoming attacks, and she gains a significant bonus to her crit rating. Now that's the overview. Let's go back a little bit and let's pick this apart just a bit because there's a lot of good stuff happening in there. Now, upon first reading this, I thought Emma Frost and Ghost, like right away. She has a force field that takes damage on her behalf, which is a lot like the Diamond form, takes a lot of damage, but this kind of sounds a little bit more like a safeguard because it's taking the bulk of the damage instead of her. Now, I don't know how long this lasts. I don't know if this is part of a timer or a charge system type of thing, so we'll have to see that when the actual champion comes out. So when she dodges those enemy attacks, she ends up gaining a pretty good benefit from there, and she'll deal some bonus damage for every debuff on them, and that is when she's return attacking. So tweaking up something like Resonate, which will give you an extra debuff on top of whatever debuffs are happening. I'm guessing there has to be some kind of a debuff, because if you don't put the debuff on them, how really else would you get it other than parry? Now, the other thing I'm interested in is the fact that she's both physical and energy resistant. So there isn't really a lot of energy resistance out there going on, so I want to see how much of that she has, especially for the Dominoes out there and the Icemen out there, see how much she can really mitigate that damage. And I really like the reduction off of the special attacks. That's really, really good. I'm interested in that as well, because I'm wondering how much the good portion actually means in terms of percentage. Now here's where it gets a little more interesting. You have Invisible Woman also possesses the ability to go invisible for extended periods of time, but while she's invisible, she can avoid the incoming attacks and gains a significant bonus to her crit rating. So that would have to be either through some kind of a buff or some kind of a debuff that she places on them, which then gives her some kind of a boost in crit. Now, I don't have that information. I wish I did have that information, but it kind of sounds pretty cool. She sounds like she's gonna be a banger for sure. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. What do you think it's gonna be? Do you think her abilities will be more projectile based? Is it going to be more melee based? What about her specials? Is she gonna throw any of those force fields, force them back, make constructs, stuff like that? I'm very, very interested in what you guys have to say about this and what you think. Now, Namor is short-tempered, he's a mutant, and he's the king of Atlantis. He's gonna stop at nothing to crush anyone and anything that threatens his kingdom and its people, no matter who you are or what your intentions may have been. So let's jump in and look at those abilities. Now, Namor is a highly offensive attacker. He passively generates stacks of outrage over time and whenever he fails to apply a debuff to his opponent. Right there, that's pretty interesting because it sounds like if he goes up against a debuff immune or someone who shrugs something, maybe shruggers, maybe, I'm not sure, but that sounds like a way for him to build up. Anyway, once his outrage gets to its threshold, he enters Imperious Rex and is able to activate multiple special attacks back to back. Now that sounds crazy because that's sounding more like a defender, even though he's highly offensive, but that sounds like it's gonna be really good on a defensive side. But being able to launch specials back to back sounds pretty nuts. Now, Namor's outrage stacks are the true source of his strength. He can use them to generate power, keep his power after activating special attacks, and increase the strength of his special attacks. So, I mean, this sounds really fun visually. I can't imagine that there would be too much attack damage on top of this. I mean, unless you have to stack something or there's something persistent going on here, but it might just be a really fun way to just launch special after special, and we haven't actually really seen a lot of that outside of some kind of a node buff. Anyway, he's activating multiple super powered special attacks in a row, devastating the opponent. Now here's where it gets a little more nuts. His special attacks can cause bleed and stuns, and when activating his special 3, Namor unleashes the full power of Neptune's trident, summoning an ocean in places where oceans do not belong. So it sounds like whoever he goes up against is just gonna end up being washed up. Now let's get back to the bleeds and stuns because that's pretty crazy. So you get to do back-to-back specials, you can bleed, and you can stun. So this means you can throw your attacks in there. If you're missing any kind of power at all, you can build that up with your attacks. If there is a way to build with attacks, maybe he doesn't have that effect, maybe like Doc Strange or Symbiote Supreme, maybe something like that. I'm not quite sure how all of that works, but it does sound exciting and his model looks great. I can't wait to see it in action as well as Invisible Woman. So guys, what do you think? What do you think this all means? What do you think this is going to work out to be? And which one of the two are you most excited about? And it's totally okay if you're excited about both, but personally, I think I'm more excited about Namor. But then again, I do like the idea of having all those resistances and being able to stack up a lot of damage through using invisibility with Invisible Woman. But I think I'm just gonna go ahead and commit and say Namor is my choice. What's your choice? Pop it down in the comments below and we'll find out. So if you liked the video, and I hope that you did, go ahead and click subscribe, click like, leave a comment, share it with your friends, share it with your mama. All that stuff helps me out. And remember, stay dorky, and I'll catch y'all on the flip. Learn a little something, take a lesson, learn it all.